My oaths betray each other till there's nothing left to keep.
Only Us by Miracle of Sound. Alright, welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Mythic
Why, hello.
and Darkness.
Hello.
This is episode 12 of the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings, and we are doing chapters 45 to 47 today, and we're starting with chapter 45, Shadesmar. And so, before we even get into the epigraph, do you guys remember where you've heard the name Shadesmar before?
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Sounded familiar, but I couldn't figure out.
Yes. So it's
I knew you were
very
gonna ask that question.
yeah, it is very briefly mentioned in Arcanum Unbounded that Shadesmar is another name for the cognitive realm.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, just thought I'd bring that up as it's relevant to the chapter.
Yeah.
Just a little.
No,
So yeah.
not a little. What are you talking about?
So we'll go into the epigraph, which is Yellingnar, called Blightwind, was one that could speak like a man, though often his voice was accompanied by the wails of those he consumed. The Unmade were obviously fabrications of folklore. Curiously, most were not considered individuals, but instead personifications of kinds of destruction. This quote is from Traxil, line 33, considered a primary source, though I doubt its authenticity. So what are your thoughts on Yellingnar and this mention of things called the Unmade?
Somebody needs to make it, that's for sure.
Need to remake it?
It's unmade, it needs to
We
be
haven't
made.
heard that before, have we?
No, this
What,
is
the
I
maid?
think our first mention of the Unmade, which we know these are Yasna's notes. So Yasna obviously thinks that the Unmade are folklore and not real beings. But this note that she has written down, obviously the author of that book thought that the Unmade were real creatures, and there's apparently one
So,
called Yellingnar.
They
It
are
says-
real creatures.
It says they most were not considered individuals, but instead personifications of kinds of destruction.
Mhm, mhm.
So what I'm thinking, it's either like that phase Kaladin sees in the storm,
Mm.
and it's interpreted in a way that is different for everyone depending on what perspective you're seeing it from. Because they say, like, it could be that, or it could be people who literally ride the storms, because it does get mentioned later on, right?
Mm-hmm. So just a reminder, Kaladin calls the face in the Storm Father, but he like second guesses himself. He's like, "There's no way that could be the Storm Father."
Mhm.
And I believe a few people curse by the Storm Father, kind of like they do with the Heralds. Just as little tidbits that you brought up, the face Kaladin sees in the storm. But yeah, so we don't have much information on the Unmade just yet. This is our first little note.
Apparently they're unmade though.
They are Unmade, capital U, which I'm sure you could have guessed, Mythic.
Nope.
Or who knows? It could be the things that Shalana's
Right.
seen.
Couldn't guess that at all, to be honest.
But yeah, so we start with Shallan's point of view as she reads King Gavilar's accounts of his meetings with the Parshendi. It's noted that they talk about their terrible gods, and Gavilar believes they mean some of the largest of the chasm fiends. He also notes
Chasm.
that the Parshendi seem confused by the Parshmen and ask where their music is, although Gavilar doesn't know what they mean, but assumes it has to do with the humming and chanting they often do. The Parshmen, however, seem to have no interest in the Parshendi. Gavilar also notes that the Parshendi don't seem worried about high storms. So what do you think about the confusion the Parshendi have about the Parshmen?
It probably has to do with what makes them so different. Maybe
Maybe.
it's related to the bald dude.
Zeth?
The bald dude.
Yeah, you know how he's like, they said he didn't have something. I forgot what it's called. Is it Truthless?
He's truthless, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
he's not related to the Parshendi. He was bought
No,
out
I know,
by
but
the
I mean, like,
Parshendi.
I'm saying it could be like the same way he's missing whatever that is, but for their people.
I see. Okay.
And like that's what like differentiates them, you know, what makes them able to do the things they can do rather than be how, you know, the docile people are.
Mm-hmm. What do you
It's an
think?
interesting
Mystic?
theory. I kind of like that theory, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other thoughts about the Parshendi, like how they kind of like seem confused by the parchment? They're just like, the fuck is wrong with them?
Not really, honestly. I mean, I think they're just really cool fucking things. Really cool beings.
Also, do you agree that with Gavilar that the terrible gods they mention are the Chasm Fiends, or do you think it's something else and he's just not picking up on it?
Else. 100% think it's something else.
Do you agree, Darkness?
I had a thought on this last night, but I literally can't remember.
Should probably try to remember more often.
You gotta write things down, Darkness.
Yeah, goddamn.
Repeat the question, only because I.
The question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you said repeat the question. The question.
What do you think the terrible gods are that the Parshendi note? Because Gavilar thinks that they're Chasm Fiends, but he doesn't seem to be 100% sure.
I mean, Chasm Fiends work.
But do they, though, Darkness? Do they really work?
I mean, they're fighting them, right? So.
Oh, so they're doing work? Got it.
Also, what do you think about how the Parshendi are kind of like really just like whatever about the high storms? Because like human society is like all built around protecting from the high storms. And the Parshendi are like, oh yeah, if our houses get blown down by the high storm, like who cares? We'll just rebuild them, like whatever.
Well, they have shells, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll protect them.
Yeah, the shells protect them. Yeah.
So Shallan.
I agree with Darkness on that. The shells protect them, so they don't really have to worry about it.
Yeah, they're a lot more equipped to deal with the high storms than the humans seem to be.
Yeah, definitely seems like it.
So Shallan glances briefly at Yasna before switching to a different book that has the account of a storm warden that was with Gavilar when he first met the Parshendi. The storm warden seemed to have not believed Dalar's first accounts of the Parshendi, but as they visited with them, the storm warden realized that the Parshendi really were their own people and had their own culture. It's also noted how much interest Gavilar had in the Parshendi from the first moment he met them. Shallan then flips to a biography of Gavilar's life from Navani, which notes how uninterested in scholarly work Gavilar had been. Shallan notes the difference in Gavilar's personality out loud, and Yasna agrees that his interest in the Parshendi was new and was a change in him. She also states that she isn't expecting Shallan to find answers, but she's hoping that Shallan may notice some details that Yasna wouldn't have because Yasna lived through it. Shallan wonders why Yasna is interested in this when she is a historian. However, Yasna says she is specifically a Veristitalian, which means that she is part of a group who looks for the truth in histories that may have been written with bias. So what do you think about Gavilar's sudden interest in the Parshendi, even though he generally wasn't interested in scholarly things?
Gavilar's the one that's hitting on Schlong, right?
No, Gavilar is the dead king.
Dead King. Oh, okay. I was like, which one was... I can't remember names. So.
That's Cabs.
No way, I blanked too. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, Gavilar is Yasna's dad, who died at the death at the beginning of the book.
It's freaking Gavilar and Dalinar, like.
Yeah, the brothers.
They sound literally the same. That's crazy. I didn't even.
He might have been onto something. That's why he died.
You think maybe he figured something out about them and that's why they killed him?
Yep, he was murdered for that reason.
Darkness, do you have any thoughts about Gavilar suddenly being interested in the Parshendi when usually he doesn't really give a shit about scholarly stuff?
I think it has to do less with him trying to be scholarly and more like, oh shit, these people are like cool.
Oh, really? You think that he just thought they were cool?
Well, with the way he speaks about them, you know.
Oh man, I could see it. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit weird because like he seems very interested in them, but yet he doesn't seem to like ask for elaborations on any of their culture. He's like, these people are so cool, but I'm just gonna assume things about them without like actually properly getting answers.
It's because the issue here is that we don't really get too much about him from him, rather than from the people who knew him.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what like a valid reaction for him would be.
Are we sure he's not American? Like that sounds like a very American thing to do.
I mean, he was combining all these little states into one big country.
Yeah, I think he's American, honestly.
Alethkar is just America in a
Oh, you were
brochure.
American.
Yeah, it's America before it became America. I mean, I wouldn't put it past.
Does that mean Yakovet is Canada since they're the border country with very similar culture?
No, where do the Parshendi live? That's Canadian.
The Unclaimed Hills.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is part of the Frostlands, the Unclaimed Hills, so that might make sense.
Maybe. Yeah, you're Canadian. Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mexico is Yakovet then.
Yeah, you're a Parshendi for sure.
That's fine. Shallan is Mexican then. A Mexican redhead.
Yep, Mexican redhead. I mean, hey, it could happen.
There's hella
Yeah.
Mexican redheads. What?
Are there?
Yeah.
I don't know this. But yeah, so Shallan then thinks that she needs to start complaining because the ship to take her back home will be here tomorrow morning. However, instead of doing this, she asks about Earthiru. Yasna replies that it is one of the Silver Kingdoms and had a throne for each of the 10 kings. It was also used by the Radiants at one point, but was abandoned before the Radiants went against mankind. Many scholars considered Earthiru a myth because of how little is known about it, and one of the few books that talks about Earthiru is The Way of Kings. Shallan speculates that Earthiru might have been in Atanatan, but Yasna says it definitely was not. Shallan then tries to press up the Voidbringers, but Yasna just tells Shallan to go back to her studies. Shallan thinks again that she is leaving tomorrow, but that also means that she still has one more day with all of these books. She makes an excuse to go search the Palaneum and decides she is going to see what she can find out about Voidbringers. So why do you think Yasna refuses to talk about the Voidbringers?
She's a Voidbringer herself. Oh my god.
Dun, dun, dun.
What was the question?
Why do you think
What was
Yasna
the
refuses to talk about the Voidbringers?
Wait, did you say she was a Voidbringer herself?
Mythic
Yeah,
did.
she's a Voidbringer herself.
Uh, I guess I'm pretty sure she knows a lot more than she lets on, and she's just like, she doesn't, like Shallan says, she doesn't trust her yet.
Yeah, she seems to be willing to talk about Earthiru, but she's not willing to talk about the Voidbringers currently with her.
Or maybe she's just one of those people that are uncomfortable discussing stuff when it's incomplete.
You think maybe she feels a lot more confident in her research on Earthiru versus the Voidbringers, so that's why she won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Possible. She's a scholar at heart, without even realizing it.
So we then skip a couple hours ahead to Shallan sitting with a stack of books about Voidbringers. She couldn't find anything useful and found that she was just more confused now as to why Yasna had been looking into them. Looking for information on Voidbringers seemed as useless as trying to figure out if Deathspread were real, which is funny because we know they are because Kaladin saw them. She decides to go look for the book she had actually said she was looking for, and as she is going down the rows of books, she runs into Capsule. Capsule doesn't believe Shallan when she says she had gotten turned around at the Palaneum, and she is quite far from the book Yasna had said she had gone searching for, and had been gone for 2 hours. She then tries to say that she had been having a quick break, but Capsule still doesn't believe her, because of the time, and apparently we also note that apparently Capsule had been sitting awkwardly with Yasna for like an hour, which I feel like that would have been funny to see. So they go towards where the book she's looking for is shelved, and Capsule mentions that the artists didn't soulcast the Palaneum, it was mostly already here, and they had just made the alcoves for the bookshelves. Shallan wonders if the Dawn Singers made it, but Capsule doesn't think so, as he said they were mostly healers and kindly spread that had helped people. Shallan says they sound like the opposite of Voidbringers. So do you think the Almighty made the Palaneum, or do you think the Dawn Singers did?
The Almighty.
Dog singers?
Dawn Singers. My
Dog singers for sure, yeah.
my voice is still a little fucked up for being sick.
It's totally, this is just how you always sound.
Who made the what?
The Palaneum. So this is like the giant inverted pyramid that like the giant library is.
Inverted pyramid.
Yeah, it's an inverted pyramid shape.
Yeah, did you not read the book?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you anyways.
What are the two options?
Well, what they had been discussing was whether the Almighty or the Dawn Singers had made the Palaneum.
Why is it always the Almighty? Like, bruh, he probably did nothing.
So you're against the Almighty?
I don't think the Almighty is what they think it is, but okay.
I don't either, but I'm just saying, are you against it?
I wouldn't say I'm against it if I don't know it.
Right.
It's probably more likely a group of people in general made it, so...
Just some random ancient people, not specifically anyone.
I'm not gonna point fingers, but you know.
So Shallan tells Capsule that Yasna is researching the Voidbringers, which Capsule finds interesting. Shallan asks about the Voidbringers, but Capsule replies that the artists don't like to talk about them, since they are part of the far past that the artists try not to speak of, since it gets into stuff about the lost radiance and the failures of Vortinism. He, however, does say that the Voidbringers are the opposite to the Almighty, although Shallan doesn't fully accept the theory that theory is the Almighty did more good, there are more Voidbringers to do evil. Shallan continues to push, and Capsule replies that he doesn't know what else to really say. They cast the Voidbringers out 99 times, and then the heralds followed them to the Tranquiline Halls to cast them back to damnation. They were given Shardblades by the heralds so they could fight the Voidbringers, as they didn't know how to forge steel back then. And the Radiants and heralds were the only reason the ancient peoples had such amazing kingdoms and technology. Shallan still wonders why Yasna is looking into the Voidbringers, though, and Capsule believes it is so that she can prove that they never existed and go against Vortinism. Shallan isn't completely convinced of this, though. Capsule then begins ranting about how artists have been through enough and that they are now other people's property. Shallan then tells Capsule that she will be leaving tomorrow, and he asks if it's because of her father, and then reveals that there have been rumors about how reclusive he's been lately. Shallan confirms, and when Capsule asks if she'll come back, she replies that she isn't sure because Yasna moves from place to place so often. So what do you think Yasna's reason for looking into the Voidbringers really is?
Like something about something with her father, to be honest.
Do you think maybe her father was interested in them or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
I think it has to do with whatever fucking power she got going on or something. Because
You think maybe she's like reconsidering if they're real or not because she's like finding powers and such, so she's like reconsidering a lot of like mythology.
maybe she's like seeing shit too, you know?
And she's wondering if those are Voidbringers.
Yeah, it's just trying to figure out what the fuck is happening.
They're here for me. Oh no.
I mean, to be fair, she's a pretty smart person, and like, if something is going on with you, you're gonna try your best to figure it out if you have the resources, you know. So,
It's very fair.
you're not just gonna wing it like Kaladin.
I mean,
Cal doesn't have any resources, anyways. To be fair.
He's got men, plenty of men to, you know. use
But they can't
power
read.
he's got men, does
He can read. It's fine.
He can only read glyphs. He can't read fully.
Okay, but like that's good enough. Still could probably read.
That's good enough, he says. That's good enough.
Still could probably just like be like, you know, over his shoulder reading.
It's just reads.
Still's a woman, right? So,
Yeah, Still's. I mean, still like presents as a woman. We don't really know if Spread actually have genders.
Yeah, what is a gender, anyways?
well, technically, if she's
That's a social construct.
have they not referred to her as a?
Yeah, and, like she has a female voice and stuff. I'm just saying though, like
So therefore,
female-
she's
yeah.
representing herself as.
They also
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
state though that they also state that it's like a like she presents as this, but she doesn't. They don't actually say she's straight up a female.
hmm
She's a spren.
Yeah.
She's a weirdo. That's what she is.
Did
I
you have
agree
any
with that
thoughts
too.
about Yasna's reason for looking into the Voidbringers?
No, I'd rather talk about the spren, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure there's talk about Sprand coming up anyway.
I know.
So Capsule asks if he can at least get a drawing from Shalon before she goes, and she was
No.
surprised she hasn't
is
done
such
one
a
for him
great-
already.
Thing to ask for, to be honest. Can you just draw me? Like, oh, you draw everybody else.
Yeah.
Like one of your French girls.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
draw me like one of your French
We
guys.
need one of those log couches for Capsule.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so she agrees quickly to have one made for him. Capsule then says he shouldn't have focused on
Couch.
Shalon so much, and Shalon realizes that he seems to really love her, but she isn't sure if she loves him.
Oh no. Oh no.
He then says he could come with her to Yakaved, and Shalon internally panics, and Capsule can see that joining her isn't an option. He claims to have
Nope.
misinterpreted her, and she says that she can't expect him to understand her when she doesn't understand herself. So what do you think of Capsule's reaction to Shalon leaving and him wanting to go with her?
I don't like him.
Why don't
Like
you
I
like him?
always
He's
see her
so
on the edge of liking him a lot and then not liking him. And I don't know.
Kind of feel
People
bad
say
for
you
him
gotta get rid
because
of
she's kind of been leading him on a little bit because she's been flirting back with him a lot. Now she's like, oh, I don't actually know if I like him or not.
like, what a pest, I swear.
Poor Capsule.
Yeah, no, he's just being a nice guy, and this person's coming around and stomping on him.
Just
Well, if he's
he
willing to
brings her
leave-
jam every day. Like, jeez.
Well, if he's willing to leave a fucking what is it, a religion?
The Ardentia, yeah.
Well, if he's willing to leave that,
Leave a
what's
whole
to stop him
religion
from
just
betraying her in the future?
Oh my god. It's love, Darkness. Love
Ain't
is
no
what
love.
stops him.
He's lonely. That's it.
I mean, I agree with that too, but it's love.
Love for jam.
Capsule's true love is jam.
He knows more about it than probably Shalon, so.
It goes jam, then Shalon, and then the Ardentia.
Yeah, that's
That's his order of love: is jam, Shalon, Ardentia.
Makes sense.
So they get back to the alcove where Yasna is, and Shalon sits down to take a memory of Capsule and begins sketching. He stands awkwardly in the doorway, not knowing if he can move or speak. As she draws, Shalon finds herself trying not to cry. She finishes the drawing, and Capsule says it's wonderful and tries to pay her. Shalon rejects.
Crying, woman.
Shalon rejects the money, but Capsule insists on a picture of the two of them, and that he pays her for that one. Shalon has Capsule hold up a mirror from Yasna, and Yasna makes a face when giving it to him. And he holds
If she cries while she's taking a screenshot, will it come out blurry?
I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, so Capsule holds up the mirror beside himself so that she can see her own face, and she takes the memory before telling him he can sit down. As Shalon draws the second picture, she wonders if there's a third option for her, sending back the Soulcaster to her family, but she stays here with Yasna. She thinks it could definitely work, and she could selfishly stay and continue her studies. She would have to go home eventually, but not now. As she eagerly continues her drawing, she suddenly begins drawing the creatures in long robes with symbols for heads behind Capsule, which causes her to freeze. She says she made a mistake, causing Yasna's brow to wrinkle in confusion, and Shalon hurriedly leaves the room. What did you first think when Shalon drew the creatures again?
That they were coming for her eventually.
Do the high storms do they dissipate? Go away? Do they go away?
So what happens is the high storms, they don't really know where they come from. So they basically come from the Roshar is one big continent, and they come from the eastern side from the ocean and go over the whole continent and then go through the west. So they don't fully know if the high storms just circle the planet continuously or if it just starts in the east and ends in the west and then just dissipates into the ocean again. They don't really know because they're not able to sail around the continent because of the high storms. So it's either one continuous storm that's always circling, or it could be multiple storms that are forming somewhere.
Wait, they can't go around the continent because of the.
Well, sorry, they can't go past the continent. They can't go they can't sail out because of the high storms.
So what? When they try to sail out, it's permanently there.
So when they try and sail out, I think they just can't sail faster than the high storms come. So they eventually will get caught in the high storm and their ship will sink.
I didn't know the high storms come.
Okay, but but what's stopping them from? Wait, what's stopping them from just following one right after it leaves?
As I said, I think it's faster than they can sail. So they'll lose track of it, and then another one will come around eventually.
They're not that good, you know.
They don't got speedboats.
Just take Kaladin. He'll make a bubble around the boat. I would have probably died trying that out, Loki.
I mean, apparently a lot of people have. I believe that there was mentions earlier in the book that people would try and
Even
sail
though I get
out.
seasick, but well, there goes that theory.
Yeah, so Shalon hurries into one of the lifts and begins drawing again as she stares upward at the landing. When she looks down, there are two of the symbol-head figures looking at her from above, which is the image I sent you of a fan drawing earlier.
I pictured the symbol head people or whatever.
Mhm.
I pictured them stick figures with literal symbols instead of heads.
No, they have these big cloaks, which Shalon says are they're too straight to be cloth, so they look almost like metal, and then they have just a floating symbol above the neck of their cloak or robe. Yeah, so once the lift lands, she runs through the main floor and the crowd of people. As she glances backwards, she takes another memory, and she draws it, and there are 5 symbol-head figures in the crowd following her, each with a different symbol above their robes. Shalon wonders if it's her guilt that is causing these strange creatures to appear in her pictures, and she takes another memory, drawing a picture that shows the symbol-head figures even closer to her now. She hurries back to Yasna's rooms and to her own room within them. She climbs onto her bed, back against the wall, and feels the need to know if the figures are in the room with her. She grabs a new piece of charcoal as she had dropped the one she had been using previously and begins to sketch the creatures in the room with her, one of them reaching towards Shalon. What do you think about the creatures following Shalon through the Palanaeum and everything?
Said they're after her.
They're attention seekers. They're oh, they can see me! Let's go after her.
So Shalon reaches out and she can feel something where the creature's hand had been. She screams and begins trying to take out the soulcaster, but she knows she doesn't know how to use it. Instead, she thinks about using the weapon from her most horrific act that is only 10 heartbeats away. However, she's interrupted.
Yeah.
She's interrupted by something asking what she is. Shrem replies that she is terrified, and the voice says that is true. So what do you think about this voice asking Shalon what she is and replying that her response is true?
I mean, it was true, so.
Mm-hmm. But just what do you think about that little kind of interaction in general?
She needs therapy.
She does need therapy, 100%.
So suddenly, everything around Shalon turns into glass spheres, and she is no longer in her bedroom, but in a place with a dark sky and a small white sun. Little flames, like from candles, are all around, and Shalon falls into a sea of beads, the glass spheres. Shalon grasps one of the beads, and a voice asks if she wants it to change. Shalon is confused and asks it to help her, and the voice replies that it will change. She screams as she suddenly feels cold, and the bead feels warm in her hand. So what did you think about the sea of glass beads that Shalon went to briefly?
The spheres?
Mm-hmm. This dark world with a sea of glass beads.
They're the spheres, right?
I mean, yeah, there's spheres, but also just she goes back and forth between spheres and glass beads.
No, I'm saying they're the money spheres.
Oh no, they're just full glass. They don't have gemstones in them.
Okay.
But they're like that, but without gemstones.
Yeah, they're similar, I think, but without the gemstones inside them.
Okay.
Interesting.
And it's just a giant ocean filled with them.
I was about to start stressing so bad if you didn't understand me.
What do you mean, darkness? Understand you?
Yeah.
Nobody can understand you.
But yeah, what did you think of this world though that she's in briefly?
Huh. I'm not sure. Well, we know it's not. I don't know. I all I could think about was like, are these the money ones? Like, can you feel them?
What did you think, Mythic? This different world that she seemed to go to briefly.
Seemed interesting, to be honest, but I couldn't figure out. I was trying to figure out where it was at.
Also, did this voice asking about changing remind you of anything?
Voice. Well, first off, I didn't hear the voice, so it's hard to remember a voice you don't hear. But kind of reminds me of Ruin, to be honest.
Hmm.
When you talk to people.
I was going to give her a little reminder that it's very similar to how in Mistborn Secret
Celebrite?
History, Kaladin or not Kaladin, Kelsier
Paladin.
Kelsier, when he takes remember his little campfire, he like finds like this misty form of like this burnt out campfire, and he convinces it to become fire again. And then that's how he's able, and then like it will, when he like stores it away and like folds it up in itself, it becomes a little ball of mist, and then he's able to fold it back out into a campfire while he's in the cognitive realm. Just a little thought.
You think that's how you use the Soulcaster?
I mean, that's seems to be how she uses her powers all of a sudden. So that was a lot like a soulcaster.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, this voice could have also just been
Her subconscious.
no, the same thing that was talking to fucking Dalinar or whatever.
Voices.
And I guess the same thing that I'm pretty sure has spoken to
Kaladin?
Kaladin. Yeah.
A storm father.
It's the Storm Daddy.
Oh gosh.
Talk to me, Storm Daddy.
That's great.
Well,
Hey, you came up with it.
we'll get to it, but Mythic won't
We'll
fully
get to it.
know that. Well, because
The
in
Storm
Kaladin's
Daddy?
chapter, the what talks to Kaladin in the next chapter, the like way it's written in the book is like very specific, where it's like written in like all caps.
Interesting.
Okay, so it's different. Okay.
It's written differently than anything that's talked to Dalinar or Shalon.
Schlong. Yeah.
I don't know. This whole time I thought the creatures were talking to her, but
So it seems like something talks to her in the room, and then when she holds that glass sphere while she's in the like sea of beads, she hears a different voice, which is like, "Do you want me to change?"
You want me to change? Do you not love me?
That's when
Yeah.
Shalon is back in her bedroom, and the goblet next
Oh
to
my
her
God.
bed melts into blood. After the voice says to her that I will change.
I will change. I promise you, Shalon. I'll change. Just for you.
Were you gonna say something, Darkness?
I was just thinking for a second.
For a second. One.
What if she was having a Nightblood moment?
A what blood moment?
Nightblood.
Isn't
Like
it?
the-
It is
the sword.
Nightblood, right?
Like the sword?
Yeah.
Sword? What? I'm confused. Can you explain what that means?
That means what if her sword was tied to her?
Oh, okay. I gotcha now. Okay, I thought you were saying she was Nightblood or something.
Oh, that would have been great.
What if
It
she was
explains the
Night-
bloodlust.
Um,
If anything, Jasmine would fucking fit more. But you know,
Wait, who would fit more?
Yasna.
is it
Yasna?
Yamaha?
Yamaha. Actually, that's how I'm gonna say it from now on. Actually, yeah,
Okay.
it's Yamaha.
Anyways, so suddenly Shalon is back on her bed in her room, and the goblet next to her bed melts into blood. Startled, Shalon causes a water pitcher to fall over and break on the floor. Shalon realizes that she is soul casted, but she doesn't understand how, as she hadn't even been wearing the soul caster. She then hears Yasna.
Almost like the other woman you were just talking to that murdered a bunch of people. Yeah.
She then hears Yasna calling her from the other side of the door, and Shalon frantically hides her sketchpad with the drawings of the creatures in case they are related to soul casting in some way. However, she doesn't know what to do about the blood. So do you think the Symbol-Head creatures are related to the soul casting, or do you think that's something else that's going on?
I think that's something else. I think that's to her specifically.
I think that's what. Well, we know that's what triggered her. So, but yeah, I think it's unrelated to. Well, not unrelated, but like separate events.
Mm-hmm.
A chain of events.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So, yeah, so you think like 'cause I'm assuming that like obviously her being kind of frantic like that, she somehow triggered the soul casting, but like the creatures technically weren't like the cause of it or anything. They just what frightened her.
Yeah, the creatures. Yeah. I can't word it any better.
That's
but, you know,
okay. So the only thing Shalon could think of was to take a shard of glass from the broken water pitcher and cut her arm to make it look like the blood was her own. Yasna enters the
That's a
room.
stupid idea to do. To be honest.
you're a woman. Just say you're on your period, bro.
I think it's a
Exactly,
little
like,
too
that's
much
what I was
blood for
thinking
that.
too. Nah.
No,
So much
women's
fucking blood
flows
with it.
are different.
No,
Exactly.
it definitely sounds like it's way too much blood.
Nah, I don't know about that.
But yeah, Yasna enters
We as two men
Yeah.
know more about periods.
Uh-huh.
Right.
yeah, you do.
Totally.
But yeah, so Yasna enters the room and gasps in shock, immediately calling for help. She presses a cloth to Shalon's wound to try to stop the bleeding, and Shalon pretends to be barely conscious, clutching her safe pouch to her chest and hoping no one will open it.
After that panic attack, I wouldn't be surprised if she is barely conscious.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so what did you think about Shalon's attempt to try to hide that she had soul casted?
It goes like it's her whole plan is for her not to know she stole it, so makes sense.
She could have just murdered someone.
Yeah, just randomly pull a person's body here,
No, but why would she do that, bro? Oh my god.
Just make it look like a suicide attempt. It's all good.
At this point, my bad, I spilled the wine. Is a better fucking option.
Also, do you think Yasna will realize that Shalon had soul casted the blood, or do you think she's just gonna be too frantic about being like, oh shit, what the fuck happened to Shalon, that she's not gonna realize?
What happened to my ward? What did she do to herself?
She's not gonna have lost that much blood anyway, right?
No, she hasn't actually lost that much blood, but she definitely did cut herself bad enough that she started bleeding.
Okay, but she started doing her little saving lives movement, so I don't know, maybe the medics are gonna be like, it wasn't that serious, where the fuck all this blood come from?
I mean, apparently Taravangian has the best hospitals and doctors on the whole continent, so if anyone would figure out that she didn't lose that much blood, it's them. Taravangian's gonna just walk in and be like, yeah, she is not pale enough to have lost that much blood.
You see, as a woman myself,
Yeah.
Really?
I would have definitely blamed it on the period, and I would have accidentally gotten a nosebleed at the same time, and then I would have accidentally bitten my tongue and gotten all these injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I would have probably died after that, Loki, from embarrassment.
So then we get chapter 46, Child of Tanavast.
Child of Canada?
Tanavast.
Don't scream at me.
The epigraph for this one is, though I was due for dinner in Beaton City that night, I insisted upon visiting Kolinard to speak with Tibet. The tariffs through Urithiru were growing quite unreasonable. By then, the so-called Radiants had already begun to show their true nature. Following the firing of the original Palaneum, only one page of Turksim's autobiography remained, and this is the only line of any use to me. So what do you think about how someone could apparently visit 3 countries or cities in one day somehow?
They were obviously teleporting.
Obviously, yeah. They're obviously using some kind of magics, transportation magic.
They were astral projecting.
Ooh, actually, that's a really cool idea too, to be honest.
No, but maybe it was one of the freaking I forget what they're called.
Oh, the
little
perpendicularities?
Parallel shit. Yeah. Parallel.
Parallels!
Perpendicularity.
It sounds like math shit, so I just, parallelogram, whatever that is.
I mean, we do know that there's multiple gods on this planet, so maybe they're able to travel between different perpendicularities to get places faster.
They need to fix their shit. This planet is going to hell, literally.
In a handbasket. Yeah.
It's going to damnation.
Going to hell in a handbasket for sure.
So we move to Kaladin's point of view as he dreams that he is the High Storm. At first he's flying over the ocean, and then he hits the continent, flying over the shattered plains and marveling at how large they are. There was a large plateau in the center, and he felt like someone lived there. Then he is flying over the Sea of Spears, then a Lethkar, and then some mountains that might be the Horneater Peaks. Kaladin then passes tents and wagons of a people at war, and then a city that is built into the rifts in the ground. He continues across more foreign lands, some with people dark-skinned like Sigil. Kaladin can't help but know that there seems to be less war in the west than in the east, although he is still bothered by how much war there is. He passes by multiple strange cities, and then he blows into a building. In the building, he sees a man standing over 2 corpses, wearing white and holding a long, thin sword. His shin eyes almost seemed to see Kaladin before Kaladin was gone, continuing to move west. So what did you think of Kaladin dreaming of being the High Storm?
He is the High Storm. He's storm blessed after all.
Yeah, exactly. He's storm blessed, so he must be the High Storm.
Also, what did you think of Kaladin seeing Zeth in his dream?
Well, they're gonna meet, so it's the man of his dreams.
Man of his.
Seeing Zeth doing some murdering probably for his new master.
Oh God, it's the man of his dreams.
Literally.
Oh, darkness, you crack me up.
As Kaladin begins.
Huh.
Sorry, you guys say something?
I'm sorry, but like at this point, we know that it's different gods or deities or beings in general talking to these main characters, I guess.
We don't necessarily know exactly who's talking to them. We do know that there's multiple gods though, and one of the things
It's
Odium.
God. It's totally the god.
Well,
Gods are in every one of these books.
it's gonna suck if they're all on different sides.
Oh God, that would be hilarious. Actually, I would love that.
There's 3 gods, and
And
each
then-
of them is being talked to by a different god.
So there's one that's like, you need to change like your whole look, get rid of it. And then there's one that's like,
Unite them.
unite them, peace for all. You get a tablet, you get a laptop, you know.
Okay.
So like, and then there's like, what? There's, who am I missing?
The one Kaladin talks to.
Oh, bro, that dude like, that's just daddy.
That's just
Oh my
daddy. This man
gosh.
said, "Oh my God, just daddy,
Sir daddy.
Jeez.
storm daddy, yay!"
But yeah, so as Kaladin begins to move toward the Western Ocean, he hears a loud voice speak to him. Child of Tanavast, child of honor, child of the one since long departed. The oath pact was shattered. Men ride the storms no longer. The oath pact is broken. Child of honor, Odium comes. Most dangerous of all the 16. You will go now. Kaladin cries out that he doesn't understand and asks why there is so much war. The voice just replies that Odium reigns.
Odium Ray.
Yes. So we've kind of talked about it already, but who or what do you think this voice is that speaks to Kaladin?
Another god that wants Odium dead.
It's a storm daddy.
Yeah, it's storm daddy for sure.
What do you
No,
think
but
of
like,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I love how she just went on to the next
Maybe-
one. God damn.
No, I was going on to the next
Maybe-
question.
it's
Go, Douglas.
I was thinking maybe it's related to the people that were writing that freaking note or whatever that was like, like, we got to stand against this dude because, it's
The note from the part 2
bad no-no.
epigraphs.
yeah,
Way to bring the epigraphs into a darkness.
because he's
Mhm.
clearly like, Kaladin, you fucked up. Like, now we're both fucked,
What did you think of these names that this voice called Kaladin? So he called him Child of Tanavast and Child of Honor.
I feel like
Well,
Phil says a lot of the same shit. To be honest.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's following a code in general, and that's what's probably gonna, guess he got a chosen god now or some shit.
Yeah, he's got a daddy now. Lost one dad and got a new one.
Oh,
I mean, hey, he lost his brother, so
guess he's getting a new one. Oh wait, he did, but then he got.
he did get a new one. Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah, also just for Mythic's point of view, honor is capitalized there when he says Child of Honor.
Honor is another god name.
You think maybe that's one of the other god names? So Kaladin wakes up on the stone floor and he's being held down by multiple people. Kaladin quickly knocks 2 people over before getting to his feet and launching himself at another assailant. He can't find his
Why? Why am I on the ground? You were trying to run into the storm.
Yeah. But yeah, he can't find his spear or his knife, and he's pulled out of his confusion by Teft cursing at him. Kaladin quickly remembers where he is and says that he is fine. Moesh says that Kaladin had tried to go out into the storm, which is why they'd been holding him down. Sigil states that it seemed like Kaladin had been in a fever dream, but Kaladin states that he is fine. Moesh then curses Gaz as the spear lighting the room goes out.
My storm daddy just loves me too much.
But yeah, so do you think that this dream that Kaladin had is similar to what Dalinar is experiencing during the high storms, or do you think it's different?
I think it's similar.
It's similar, yeah. Pretty much the same thing, honestly. Maybe the high storms is,
What
how they
were-
were only able to speak. You know how Bruin's only able to speak to people who are like, unstable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe they can only speak during like this freaking the high storm stuff.
Mm.
Well, is there a difference between how this being talks to Kaladin and how the other one talks to, if it's any different, to Dalinar?
So there is, but also the voice that's speaking to Dalinar seems to be like through like these people in the vision. So it may or may not be a similar thing, because Kaladin's being spoken to kind of like directly, whereas Dalinar is being spoken to through
Yeah, they're
these
different gods.
people.
Yeah, they're different gods. They're just
Because they had different limitations, you know.
Mm.
Because why would you talk to them differently if you know?
If you could just talk to them directly.
Kaladin's dream's definitely a little different than Dalinar's, because Dalinar's like being put into the body of someone else in like this, like in like the past or something. He's been like taking over someone's body almost, like in like this vision of the past, whereas Kaladin was like very much a like, this is the present currently, this is like, you are the High Storm at the moment.
What is?
Are the High Storm. I am Storm.
Do we know
Daddy,
what?
you are High Storm.
Do we know what Dalinar's conduct thing, code of conduct or whatever is?
The codes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it previously. Let me scroll up. It was one of the.
It's so far up. I don't want to scroll.
I can scroll up. I can read it off. I think it's only like 5 things.
Also, are the fucking faces from the like creature thingies like the symbols? Are they like flat or are they like actual heads?
I think they're flat.
Interesting.
So the codes of war were readiness, inspiration, restraint, leadership, and honor.
Okay.
That's what the codes Dalinar follows as.
And so there's 5 like things to that code.
Mhm.
And there's also 5 things for the history of man depicted there.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, there is.
Maybe they're related. Maybe the codes were made because of that.
Possible.
Yeah, highly possible.
And maybe that only happened like the history of man, like, and how it like all went through that shit or whatever. It happened because each part of this, like, maybe it started off with all of them either having a certain aspect, and by all of them I mean like whoever back then like had a particular aspect, or like a being had a particular aspect, and one falls and then the next falls, and look, I'm just trying to throw stuff out there. Cause,
Yeah, I'm looking at
I like
looking at
it.
like
I like
the
it.
order of the codes versus the history of man, and seeing if like maybe like a failure to do each of the codes is somehow related to each of the things.
What's the first thing for the code?
The first code is readiness, just like to not be to always be ready for battle.
Which would have been great for the Tranquil Hall thing.
Yeah, and
right?
they lost the Tranquil Halls when the Voidbringers apparently like came and like cast them out. So maybe like they weren't ready for battle. The second one is inspiration. The officer will wear his uniform when in public to look ready for war and to give strength to his troops. And that's the Desolations, war against the Voidbringers. And then the Horiatim is the last desolation, the defeat of the Voidbringers, which we also know was technically didn't go how they think it went, because that was the prologue to the whole book, which was when the heralds like left the one guy to like in damnation by himself, and they gave up on it.
Right.
Which would have been restraint. They did not have the they did not like.
Because sometimes you know how everybody has like this like sense of when it's good to like back up, like.
Mm-hmm. And the Recreants deals with leadership, and we know that the Knights Radiant stopped being leaders to the people. They like became corrupt.
Yeah.
And then the Fall of Voridism, that's when like the Ardents like tried to take over the world, and they had no honor. Maybe. I mean, you could definitely like probably put them together.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like super 1-to-1, but you could definitely make a case for it.
Well, we don't have all the information of what happened and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But it works out so far.
Yeah, it seems to have at least some sort of correlation.
And it's interesting because they called him what? Child of Honor or whatever?
Child of Tanabast, Child of Honor. Yeah, we don't know who Tanabast is, but they also call him Child of Honor.
So maybe they gotta have a child of each each one,
Right. Did you have anything more you wanted to say on that, or should I continue? Oh.
If Kaladin's honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna assign this as like surface,
Yeah.
as I can, but I would put Shallan as restraint. Only because of her how like what she showed with Yasna in her little situation with the guys, right?
Mm.
I would put Dalinar as leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put what's his name? Bald Dude as
Zeph.
readiness. Yeah.
Bald Dude.
Who's inspiration then?
Maybe we gotta meet them.
Mm.
Yeah, who inspires you, darkness?
Huh. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, all of that could be true.
No, restraint fits her really good if that's how it's described. Oh, and leadership works with the Dalinari because he was like literally put himself in the same situation as that one dude that was doing the freaking thing, and he pulled out his sword and everything, right, to do it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to dig the latrine ditch.
We have honor already. Yeah, and fucking Baldy over there is never gonna be without his weapon or not ready for battle. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied with this.
You're
Yeah.
satisfied?
Yeah.
It works. I think it works out. Yeah.
All right, let's continue this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know if there's anything else you think of. So Kaladin then leads the bridgemen out into the rain to wash themselves. Rock shaves himself and then shaves the beards of the other men who want it. Kaladin goes over and asks Rock to shave his beard off as well. Once he's done being shaved, he walks off to let someone else have their turn, and Signal comes over to him, knowing that Kaladin has the face of a leader. Kaladin replies that he isn't a light eye and that he hates their lies, although he wouldn't rule in their place. Moash joins in and says he'd happily join them so that he could change things. Six of them brings up the Babatharnum, briefly mentioning that he had been imprisoned a few times when visiting there, and that they chose to rule by whomever is the oldest. When he describes the place, Kaladin thinks he saw that place in his dream. However, apparently people will just murder anyone who is older than them, so that they can be the ruler. Six of them says that the reason he brought it up is that no matter who is in charge, the power will be abused. Moash defies this and says he would change things. So what do you think about Moash's goals to change their society?
It's not gonna work out regardless. We know that.
What do you think, Mythic? About
Say it
Moash
again.
wanting to change society?
Is that one
Moash.
dude that wants to like overthrow the Light Eyes and be like, oh, they got to do this stuff themselves, And then they're saying like, oh, it's not gonna work out because you're just gonna be doing what they do to you. It's like, will it work out?
Yeah, you confused the shit out of me, darkness. What was the original question? Jesus
What do you think
Christ.
about Moash's goals to change their society? So basically, Moash says that he wants to join the Light Eyes and like change the way their society works.
But I mean, I think it's an admirable goal. Admirable goal.
It is the guy that wants to like just put them in the same spot that he was in, right?
Yeah, he kind of just wants to like make the Light Eyes be the ones that are like doing all the slave
Mhm.
work.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna really make it a better place, but okay.
So Moash then says that his plan is to win a Shardblade, because the law says anyone can win one. Although Kaladin makes a note that it depends on the Light Eyes, that if the Light Eyes follow the law. Rock then comes over and calls Sigzil a world singer. However, this causes Sigzil to look upset and go back into the barrack. Rock mentions that world singers are like storytellers, but they think themselves higher than that. Moash replies that Sigzil is probably some sort of Light Eyes in his country. Dunny then comes over and asks what they did to Sigzil, as he promised to tell him about Vedinar, since he might have Veden in him considering his dark violet eyes. So what do you think upset Sigzil? Why do you think it upset Sigzil to be called a world singer?
Because he's not a bard.
Because he doesn't sing about the world.
But yeah, also this brief mention from Dunny about having dark violet eyes is kind of, I think, what I mentioned at the start of the book, where like dark eyes doesn't just mean you have like brown or black eyes. It literally, you can have dark blue eyes, dark violet eyes, dark green eyes, and still be a dark eyes. You can also have like light brown eyes and be like a light eyes. It's really like the shade, not like the actual color, that matters.
Mm-hmm. Just how dark they are, yeah.
So Kaladin then tells the men to go oil their vests and sandals, and the men reluctantly go to do so. Kaladin then notes it's the third day of the week, and the new bridgemen are likely to be brought in. Not too long later, Kaladin sees soldiers bringing in the new bridgemen, and he notes that they really need another man or two. Kaladin goes up to Gaz, and Gaz immediately tells him not to get angry at him since he is no longer allowed to do the assignments for the bridge crews. He does say that Brightness Hashal gave them one new bridgeman, a Parshman. Kaladin and Teft are upset by this, but Gaz says it's what they get. Kaladin brings the Parshman to Bridge 4, and he sees the others are realizing the situation. Kaladin almost feels angry at how they are reacting to seeing the Parshman, and he thinks that he needs to turn a liability into an asset. Kaladin asks the Parshman if he has a name, but he doesn't reply, so Kaladin calls him Shen. He tells the men that Shen is one of them no matter what, and rejects that Shen would try to do anything against them. Teft, however, says he's going to keep an eye on him. So what did you think about Shen the Parshman joining Bridge 4?
I liked him. I thought it was cool, especially since we're gonna be finding out more, considering that he's there. But I don't know. I don't feel like he would betray them solely because of how Kaladin's probably gonna treat him.
I still think they're gonna. I still think there's more to it. Definitely feel like there's a possibility of betrayal.
I just remember when I first read the book, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe we'll finally get like some insight into the Parshman and Parshendi from this guy, because like you don't really get anything but like the Alethi point of view on them before this, and
He
I'm
died.
like, I want to know. I want to know what they're like. So Kaladin goes for a walk to think, knowing that moving and seeing the passing tents helps him think. Syl randomly flies around, sometimes landing on the heads of random people passing by Kaladin. She then comes over to Kaladin and says that he seems troubled. Kaladin replies that trying to get the bridgeman to escape is the hardest task he's given himself. Syl says she can feel that this time Kaladin won't fail, but Kaladin replies that it feels like every time he has tried to protect someone they have died. Kaladin says that it seems like the Almighty hates him, but Syl says that the Almighty is preserving him. Kaladin then asks Syl if she believes in the Almighty, and Syl says she isn't sure, and Kaladin replies that he doesn't think he believes in the Almighty, although there might be something else. He then asks if Syl knows of something called odium, and Syl hisses angrily and then flies off. Kaladin tries to glance around for her, but he can't spot her. So what do you think about Syl's reaction to the name odium?
Well, we know it's bad.
Yeah, right.
She's obviously not a fan, but it seems like she does know at least like the word or something. Like she's very upset by it.
It's not like. Well, I mean, at least we know who we're fighting now.
I mean, the High Storm vision also warned Kaladin about odium.
Remember, kids, don't do opium.
What do you think, Mythic? Any thoughts about Syl and odium?
Too much sodium.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Too much
I need to
sodium.
stop.
I mean, it sounds like they. It seems like they might be what's the word that I'm looking for here? Adversary, or like they might be adversarial towards Syl. Although I don't think that she actually knows. I think it's more of just a like
Like a reflex.
yeah, like a subconscious thing.
So she might not know like why she hates that word, but she's like, oh god, that word seems horrible.
Mhm.
What do you mean? That she's literally a goddess. She knows who she was facing beforehand.
So Kaladin is then distracted by a man fighting with a courtesan woman. The man is a light officer, although not very high-ranked, and he seems angry at the woman and kicks her in the stomach. Kaladin begins pushing through the crowd, but before he can get to the man and woman, 3 men in blue coats step between the two. More men in green coats, Sadius's men, join the group as well. The men argue back and forth, and the main man in blue, who is handsome with black and blonde speckled hair, defends the whore and brings out his shard blade when the men in green seem ready to fight. So did you realize just from the description that this was Adolin here?
No.
I forgot what he looked like.
Who's Adolin?
Dalinar's son.
Well, yeah. Is this the guy that thought that he was being targeted? And
No, that's
murdered?
Elokar, the
That's
current
the
king.
cousin.
Damn it! Damn it!
Adolin's the one
Like
who's
him more.
constantly dating different women.
Ah, okay.
He's the one who has like a new girlfriend every time we like meet him.
Oh, who's his new girlfriend this time?
Maybe the
Kaladin.
whore. Kaladin.
Nah, definitely not the horror. Why would it be the horror?
I don't know.
That was- Kaladin just fucking Mr. Cute Meat.
I mean, he does call him very handsome.
Right. I was looking at that.
I was like, damn, that's a handsome guy. But he's light eyes, so fuck him.
He will.
Oh gosh. But yeah, so Sadius's men run off when they see the shard blade, and the man in blue helps the woman up, asking what caused the fight. Apparently the man had refused to pay, and the woman made a comment about his reputation. The man states that she should get payment from I can't speak. She should get her payment before services from now on. The man that also states he'll escort her to the border of the Sadius's war camp, and that she should try to find work in one of the other war camps. She also tries to offer services to the man, but he replies that his father wouldn't like him to do that. The man, Adolin, then gives Kaladin an emerald chip to tell Reril Makaram that he won't be able to make their meeting. Once he leaves, Syl comes up to Kaladin and says that he was going to help the woman. Kaladin agrees, but says that it wouldn't have mattered. He then heads off, keeping the sphere, but not going to do what Adolin had asked of him. Syl states that she doesn't like this darkness in Kaladin. She doesn't like how he is when he thinks about Light Eyes. Kaladin briefly thinks that the man had helped the whore, but then thinks he's probably only did it to embarrass one of Sadius's men. So what do you think about Kaladin and Adolin meeting?
That's the end. To get united
Gotta unite Kaladin and
by
Adolin.
marriage.
Adolin's only dating all these women because he hasn't found the man that he wants.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why not?
There is a lot of people that ship Kaladin and Adolin online.
Oh man,
But yeah, so
I wonder.
Chapter 47, Storm Blessings. 1 year ago. We move to past Kaladin's point of view, as he has almost completed his 4 years in the army. He's holding a stone that sparkles in the light, and he had recently decided that he would re-enlist once his 4 years was up in a few weeks, as he couldn't go back home and face his parents with Tien dead. A man named Gare asks why he's pestering him on a battle day.
Oh no, Tien's dead.
Yep,
That's right.
Tien's already dead at this point. And Kaladin just responds that he's aware of what's ahead. Kaladin asks to transfer a new boy named Sen, Darkness's favorite character, to his team, and Gare
Is that Darkness's favorite character?
I mean, he said in our first episode that Sen is his favorite all-time
Is it,
character.
though?
Right, Darkness?
I don't know why they would do this to me. Like, why the fuck would you bring him back when you already fucking took him away from me? Like, what the fuck is
Gotta
this
kill him
bullshit?
for a second time in front of you.
No.
But yeah, so Kaladin asks to transfer a new boy named Sen to his team, and Gare tries to say he doesn't like how everyone does what Kaladin says. But Kaladin implies that he won't pay him anymore, so Gare takes the money and agrees. But yeah, so what do you think about
anymore?
what do you think about going back to this scene from the first chapter that had originally been in Sen's point of view?
Yeah, no. Reliving trauma is not gonna make it any better. Like, I mean, at least we get to find out more about what was happening there. So.
What happened after Sen died?
Yeah.
So Kaladin wanders over to the surgeon's tents and thinks that he had sent word to his parents a while ago about his failure to protect Tien and that he wasn't coming back home. Kaladin gives some spears to the surgeon, although it sticks to his belt for a moment because of a wind spren. The bribe to the surgeons would make sure his men were tended to first, although not before any light eyes who needed help. Kaladin then makes his way to his squad, about to inform Dalit of the new recruit, but Sen was already with him. Kaladin thinks that he wants to get his squad to the Shattered Plains as quickly as possible, as there were less battles and more soldiers, meaning less chances of injury and death. So what do you think about this random wind spread annoying Kaladin? Totally random. Just some random wind spread, right?
Yep.
Right, Mythic?
Yeah, random.
Yeah. Also, what do you think about Kaladin telling his parents that Tien was dead and that he wasn't going to go back home? Do you think that they still think he's in the army at this current point in time?
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
Wait, what?
Why would they think anything other?
So I was kind of asking, like, so Kaladin apparently told his parents that, like, he was going to stay in the army and that Tien's dead. So I was asking, like, do you think his parents still think he's in the army, though he's a slave now?
I think his parents are dead.
Okay. Apparently they were alive at this point a year ago.
Nah, totally dead.
They
But
died of
alive.
embarrassment.
Oh, damn.
Having a son like him, yeah.
Right. Who would ever want a son like that? I don't know.
She says,
we then time skip ahead to them in battle, and Kaladin has lost track of Sen. He glances around until he sees him and breaks formation to save him from an attack. Kaladin takes down 6 enemy spearmen and then begins binding Sen's wounds, glancing at a nearby Light Eyes who is rallying some more men. He commands a couple of men to take Sen to safety and tells Dalit that he wants to take down the Light-Eyed Man in hopes of getting the recognition to send them to the Shattered Plains. They take the Light-Eyed Man down easily, and one of Kaladin's men discreetly checks the man for spears, though he doesn't find any. Suddenly, Turum screams, and Kaladin looks behind him to see a Shardbearer cutting through Amaran's line, and he suddenly kills Sen and Dalit. Kaladin screams, and 2 more of his men are killed easily by the Shardbearer. Sen, who had been trampled, lets out a death rattle before dying. Kaladin then slowly stands up and screams as he runs after the Shardbearer, who is heading straight for Amaran. Amaran's honor guard abandons Amaran, and the Shardbearer charges at them and kills Amaran's horse. Amaran falls, and his legs get caught under the corpse of the horse. As the man goes to kill Amaran, Kaladin hits him with his spear, causing the spear to break. Man turns to Kaladin in confusion, and Kaladin's squad begins attacking as Kaladin grabs a spear from a nearby corpse. The Shardbearer easily kills many of Kaladin's men, and Kaladin is enraged. He attacks the Shardbearer, but barely even scratches the shard plate. So what do you think about Kaladin randomly attacking the Shardbearer?
wish he would
I mean, is he randomly attacking?
I mean, he's like, kind of. Like, he's like, just suddenly like super upset and just like, I'm gonna go kill this guy. Like, he's not like thinking it through very well.
But I don't think it's randomly, considering what's happening. But...
Randomly probably wasn't the right word, but like, he's kind of just like not thinking things through when he goes to attack this guy.
I guess, like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty valid. Like, maybe he shouldn't be blinded like that, but still valid.
I mean, if he had not gone after the Shardbearer, probably less of his men would have died.
If he didn't, he probably wouldn't have become a slave, but okay.
Yep, sure that too.
So Kaladin's spearhead gets cut off his spear as he dodges an attack. He tries to attack with his knife, but misses the visor slit of the helmet. However, he soon catches the spearhead that had been flung into the air and attacks with it, this time attacking right in the small opening of the helmet. The man falls over, and Amaranth gasps and says that Kaladin killed a Shardbearer. One of Kaladin's men tells Kaladin to take the shard blade, but Kaladin hesitates. The blade had killed his men, and he would become a light eyes if he took it. Kaladin can only feel disgusted. He tells Amram that he gives the blade to his men, and he walks away. So what do you think about the fact that Kaladin killed a Shardbearer, but then chose not to take the shard blade and plate?
That's gonna bite him in the ass.
Yeah,
know it
exactly.
does.
Yeah, because he chose not to take a gift. It's their gift.
It wasn't
sure that
really a
dude is-
gift. It was something he earned.
Yeah, but they think of it as a gift, I think. So
Were you gonna say something, Darkness?
Pretty sure that one dude or whoever gets the blade is just gonna be like, yeah, no, let's get rid of him, and that's how it ends up.
So that was our final chapter. I've got some overview questions. First of all, what do you think is going to happen to Shallan now that she has soulcasted for the first time, but also pretended to commit suicide?
they're gonna Baker act her fucking ass.
She's gonna use the excuse of her family.
Oh God, my family did it to me.
I couldn't handle it. It's my family, and then she's gonna leave.
I need to go home.
Yeah.
Let me go home. I'm too homesick.
Yasin's gonna be like, ugh, I never should have had a weak servant girl. No, I'm joking.
And then she's gonna be like, no, I'll prove it to you. I promise.
And then they're gonna get married and live happily ever after.
Yep, exactly. We're on the same page here for sure.
Mhm.
Also, do you think Kaladin and Adolin will meet up again at some point in this book?
Who the fuck is Adolf?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, did we not just go through like the fact that they're gonna be lovers,
Yeah, exactly.
but then Kaladin's gonna cheat on him
Oh shit.
with his father?
Oh god.
The dead one?
His dad's not
That's
dead!
the wrong guy.
Adolin's dad is Dalinar, who's getting the high storm
He's
dreams.
gonna be dead soon. That dead one.
The
It's
dead
getting
one
too
is
close,
Yasna's
thanks.
dad.
No,
He's gonna get another storm daddy.
Oh god.
It's another storm daddy, exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Also, do you think Kaladin will have more dreams during high storms?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know, I'm just saying.
Why wouldn't he? Midnight.
Midnight.
I'm just asking, because we know Dalinar's been getting repeating ones, but now Kaladin's like gotten like one, and so just asking if you think his are going to be
Yeah.
repetitive as well.
But why wouldn't he?
Yeah, but yeah.
I don't know.
That's the question.
It's a
Why wouldn't he
question.
have
It's
dreams?
just a question.
Exactly.
Why-
It's just a
why
question.
wouldn't
Why
he?
wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So what do you think is going to happen?
Why can't you answer the question?
I don't
Why
know. Maybe,
wouldn't
maybe
he?
it's just a
It's a
one-time
podcast.
thing.
A one time. I know you're lying.
You never know. It could have just been a one-time thing.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, especially to you, Darkness.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen to Kaladin's past now that we're so close to when he becomes a slave? Like, what do you think is going to happen now between like him rejecting the shard blade and becoming a slave?
Oh, I pretty much
Well,
said it. Like the
yeah,
dude
like,
that
He,
got the.
he chose
sword.
not to. Yeah, he chose not to take the sword, so they're gonna punish him for that. Of course.
Because technically, at that point, he technically killed person of higher status in the same. How do I say this? What do you call them?
What, the Bright Lord?
Is it a
Fighters?
kingdom? There's a king. There's multiple.
So
princes.
there's like multiple high princes and one king.
Okay, but what is it? Is it a kingdom? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, Alethkar is a kingdom, but it has like basically like these states that kind of war with each other. Like it's kind of like a collection of smaller kingdoms under one big kingdom.
Okay.
It's the United Princedoms of Alethkar. It's the UPA instead of USA. United Princedoms of Alethkar.
I forgot the whole question. Oh, right. He technically did kill somebody of like high status in that fucking kingdom or whatever. So he's got to get punished for it, especially if he doesn't become a light eyes, which I would assume is the only reason why people can, do that, because they become a light eyes and it makes it valid.
Yeah, and
more
like so
higher
that you're
status
not
and-
they're not losing a light eye in
Yeah.
society. Yeah.
Do you think he's
That
gonna get in
makes a
trouble
lot of
basically for killing someone important and then like not becoming
And then
someone important?
refusing. Yeah, and then refusing to take what he needs to take. He should be taking. Yeah, for sure. He should have taken that.
you
It's
think
like
we're-
when you're in a Hispanic family and then they're like, food's
Oh
ready, and
my
you're like
God,
not
yeah.
hungry and you get like disowned.
I see.
It's not just a Hispanic family. Just saying.
Don't know if it works like that with others. That's just what I know.
I'm just saying. It's definitely not just a
Yeah,
Hispanic
it's
family,
definitely not just. I feel like that's every
Yeah.
culture.
Well, not every culture, but it's
It's a
quite a
lot.
lot of them.
Most
Yeah.
of them.
Because
Yeah, I know.
my parents were the same way.
Saying that you're not hungry is a death sentence.
Yeah,
They're like, excuse you, I worked hard on this meal, you're gonna fucking
Yeah.
eat.
exactly. Now I feel like we're just getting into our own issues, but
Well, that's
But,
pretty much what we do all podcasts.
yeah, you're not wrong.
but yeah, also, do you think we're gonna ever find out who that Shardbearer was? Do you think they're gonna be important, or are they just like some random person?
It was Storm Daddy.
Oh,
Exactly.
gosh.
Storm Daddy, for sure.
I see. So next episode we will be doing chapters 48 to 52, which is more chapters than it seems because we are going to be starting part 4. So included in those chapters are also 3 interludes. There's a bunch of really short chapters.
Ah, not the interludes.
Yeah, there's interludes. I mean, you're gonna beat Zeth again.
Yeah, that's
This is-
great.
Yeah, so there's like a bunch of really short chapters, and then the last chapter's a bit long. One of those chapters you love that just goes on forever.
This goes on and on, my friend.
But all the other chapters are really short.
Nani, nani, nani.
So yeah, we'll be starting part 4, Storm's Illumination, next week, which is the opposite of part 2's name, which was Illuminating Storm.
Oh, that makes sense. No, it doesn't.
It's their whole thing with like things being the same backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's the parts, or they.
I just wish they
reverse.
would do that more with like people or beings,
Mm.
because that would be awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, that's what the chapters we're gonna be doing next week. I will pin those for you guys, and yeah, look forward to that. Thank you guys all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.